Thanks for staying with us. Continuing now, another story to bring into the fold and discuss. A Jordanian parliamentarian arrested by Israeli authorities last month as he attempted to smuggle a huge load of firearms into the West Bank. He was released back to Jordan today to face trial at home. Now, the member of parliament, Al-Adwan, he was caught with 194 handguns, 12 assault rifles at the Allenby crossing. Not just a suitcase here, as he was heading into the West Bank by car, as we mentioned. Following the lengthy interrogations that he's undergone in the last weeks, though, Israel appears to be trying to close this issue without generating any wider diplomatic crisis. I've heard the various angles around this story and touching on the ones we discussed in the first block. We're joined by diplomatic correspondent from Israel Hayom, Ariel Kahana, sitting in our Jerusalem studio. Ariel, good to have you with us on the show, as always. Look, on a diplomatic level, discussing Jordan, always interesting here. Look, of all the crises between Israel and Jordan under Prime Minister Netanyahu over the last 10, 15 years, this one seems to be wrapping up smoother than most between the neighbors here. Does that appear to be the case from the Israeli side, trying to make this go smooth?
So first of all, yes, it's quite clear Netanyahu wants to end this unbelievable scandal as quickly and as quietly as he can. But yet, David, the facts about what happened here are really, I would say, unimaginable.
Yeah.
Because this person, a parliament member, was smuggling 12 times in 1 year, which actually means once in a month he was coming from Jordan to Israel with ammunition, with gold, with money, with very unique birds, unbelievable as well. And he did that time after time after time. Now he was catched here 2 weeks ago. He was investigated, as far as I know, very strongly, gave a lot of information, and as you said, was released this morning. Look, I do, we do know about time to time, people, of course, are trying to smuggle ammunition.
Sure.
It happens in every country.
Yeah.
But one person, 12 times, parliament member in 1 year, I can't remember even event which is even close to that.
No, it's shocking. Absolutely, it's shocking. It's appalling. And want to add to later this isn't just criminal activity. These weapons, we're led to believe, are earmarked to exacerbate our conflict here. So this is outrageous on a lot of levels, of course. And along those lines, though, Ariel, certainly not all in Israel or this government, for example, are supportive of the return of this MP to Jordan. Now, notably, National Security Minister Ben-Gvir, he's arguing it was a colossal mistake, that he should have stayed in Israeli prison for years. Where does this fit now in terms of the various rifts between the Prime Minister and his other ministers?
So no question, David, this step by Netanyahu, which is, of course, he's not talking about it publicly, but it's very clear he made the decision. That's going to be another reason for right-wing circles, including Ben-Gvir, as you mentioned, to attack Netanyahu from the right, saying that he is called as a right-wing leader, but actually he is not. I mean, and you and I can just imagine what would happen if a year ago Prime Minister Bennett or Prime Minister Lapid or, let's say, Prime Minister Gantz would make such a decision. What would Netanyahu say if someone else was giving this parliament member with not even a trial, with not even taking him to court, just investing for 2 weeks and let him go freely? I'm told that he's supposed to stand for trial in Jordan. That's a Jordanian promise. This morning or last week, maybe, his immunity in the parliament, in the Jordanian parliament, was moved, so he is free to stand for trial in Jordan. But David, I mean, I hope you and I meet here in a year from today. I don't believe this person will sit, at least not for a long time, in jail.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. If we're likely to even really hear or see anything about it openly, we know how things are politically handled in Jordan. A lot of times very opaque, what ends up happening out there. Look, on Ben-Gvir, a little more on Ben-Gvir here right now. I mean, in light, the first block we discussed, the huge scourge of gun violence, taking place across the country. There's the murders off the chart again. The pressure, seemingly ramping up on the Minister of National Security, Ben-Gvir, who's again in focus here. Is that political pressure mounting on him around the violence in Israel here? Does this fit in the picture? Is he, looking to deflect blame? What kind of pressures on him right now, given the situation?
So I think the picture is a little bit wider. Look, it's quite clear Netanyahu, from at least the last week, is trying to maneuver back to the center. it's good politically, it's good for both of them, for Netanyahu and for Ben-Gvir, to attack one each other, because it let Ben-Gvir show himself as a right-wing leader, extreme right if you want, as he like, but it gives Netanyahu as well the legitimacy of, Netanyahu is not such extreme.
Right.
He's not kidnapped by Ben-Gvir because he is turning to the left, and the decision with that parliament member, Jordanian parliament member, is an example. So politically it is good for both of them, but at the same time, and that's what you're asking about, at the same time, Ben-Gvir today is not joining the cabinet meeting, the weekly cabinet meeting. Yeah. He's saying he will not vote with the coalition in the Knesset in the coming days. So we do have a political crisis. Now the question is how far both sides will go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How shaky?
But
how shaky is this coalition, Ariel? At this point, how shaky is this coalition? We're hearing about these kind of rifts, these kind of fights, almost daily. Between them, whether it's the ultra-Orthodox, Ben-Gvir himself. How shaky is this coalition? You've got your ear to the situation.
So I think both of them do not want the government to collapse. But once you begin to shake it, as you said, you never know how and where and when it ends. A move of not voting with a coalition is definitely a risky one. You know how it begins, you don't know how it ends. Not coming to the cabinet meeting, again, it was the same. So, and we are less than a half year, David, since this government, after 5 elections, less than a half year since it was established. So I don't know when it's going to go. I was guessing from the beginning this government will hold for 3 years. I am not so sure about it anymore.
Look, about a minute and a half we have in this, and this is another massive topic, but what are the biggest issues? Is the budget? I mean, I know right now they're consumed with having to pass an enormously, enlarged budget right now. What are your prospects of this? Are they going to get through that by the deadline this month?
So that's a very good example, because if the coalition is failing to approve the budget, it means the government will collapse. And if Netanyahu will not solve the problem with Ben-Gvir, which is now not supporting the government, he didn't say loudly or clearly he will not support the budget. But, once he's saying, I'm not part of you, so he's not part of them. So it's a problem. I think they do have still a few weeks to approve the budget, but it tells you how it begins, and you don't know how it's going to end. If, let's say tomorrow Netanyahu will make another problematic decision from Ben-Gvir's point of view, I don't know how it's going to end.
I think the entire country standing right there alongside you, watching closely, wondering exactly the same thing. Ariel Kahana, if you don't know, nobody knows on the situation there. So we're all going to sit on the edge of our seat and see where this goes from day to day.
Maybe we'll have 6 elections, David. Who knows? We couldn't predict it a few weeks ago, but never say never.
Absolutely. Things changed. A charged news environment, as we like to say here. Never a dull moment. That's why our viewers stay tuned. Ariel Kahana, thanks for being with us as always.